Hey guys, what's up? Jake here. Now listen, first and foremost, thank you for being here because if you've got to this video, it means a few things. It means you follow me online, maybe you follow me on Instagram, maybe you check out my YouTube channel, and you definitely listen to my podcast because if you've got this far, you found your way to my website, saw my Forex ad, and clicked on it wondering, what the heck is this Forex thing Jake is going on and on about all the time? Now listen, I want to take the next 60 seconds to tell you about an opportunity that is changing my life and just bringing me so much joy, and it will absolutely do the same thing for you. Now guys, simply put, Forex is the trading of the foreign exchange market. We're trading foreign currencies just like we would stocks. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's not easy. You could go on YouTube and try to figure it out and ultimately lose a bunch of money. But the best way to learn something like this is with a strong education and really great mentorship. And I want to tell you about what I am doing that's taking both of those things and just changing my life. Now, guys, to be able to trade, all you have to have is a phone, a smartphone. Wouldn't it be amazing to be able to make money from your phone and not have a regular job and just be able to have the time freedom, the financial freedom to do the rest of the things you want to do in your life? Now listen, I want to tell you everything there is to know about this business. I want to give you an opportunity to be part of this. You know, the reason I get to make these videos and these podcasts all day is because I've created some freedom in my life that gives me the time to do that. And I want that same thing for you. So if you guys want to know exactly how I'm using the foreign exchange market to fund my dream life, click down below, fill out the form. Let's schedule a 10-15 minute call. I'll tell you exactly how the business works, and maybe it'll work for you, maybe not, but you'll never know unless we talk. So just schedule a 10-minute call down below. Let's hop on a phone call today. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and if you're interested in joining my team, I'm gonna teach you how to run your Instagram. I'm gonna teach you how to do podcasts and YouTube videos and just get people's attention to create your own team and to build a future for yourself that will change your life forever. And not only your life, your family's life, your friends' life, and the people that you love the most. So guys, hit down below, schedule a 10-minute call with me. Let's have a chat. Let's make you some money, all right? All right, love you guys. See you later. Bam. Hey guys, what's up? Jake here. Hey, listen, can you do me a huge favor today? Okay, go to ThoughtSoundProject.com. On every page on the website, there's an Amazon ad. If you click that ad, it's going to bring you right to the Amazon homepage. Bookmark that homepage on your computer or your phone just as Amazon. And anytime you shop Amazon, go through that link, shop the way you normally do. It's not going to cost you any extra money or anything like that. Literally, all it's going to do is it's going to take a small percentage of Jeff Bezos' profits and give them to me. Jeff's got enough money, I don't, so if you would do that, I would really appreciate it. It's ThoughtSoundProject.com. Click any of the Amazon ads. It's going to bring you right to the Amazon homepage, and you'd be doing me a real solid. All right, guys, thanks. All right, we're good to go. Payam, what's up, man?
Not much, bro. How you been?
I'm good, dude. Glad to have you back. For anyone that doesn't know, this is your second time on the podcast, and you're actually the first person to come back a second time.
Hey, I'm blessed to be that person. I'm glad to take the throne.
I am too. In fact, the last time we did the podcast, I knew you would be on again. So it's fitting
Most
that it's
definitely.
you, man. Just because the last time we talked, like, we have a lot of parallels with, you know, it's kind of some of the things we're into and the way we see the world and you know, just mindset and manifestation and all of that is like really cool and everything, but like with the state of the world right now, I thought it would be a great time to kind of have a chat with you because I think these are some of the kind of things that people need in their lives right now. You know what I mean?
Right, I agree. 100%.
Okay, so the last time we did this, we kind of did your whole life origin story, and we can kind of keep it a little bit more loose this time. But for the people who maybe didn't hear that episode or don't know you, can you just kind of give me the 3-minute who you are, what you do, where you're from, the whole deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even remember exactly what I said then because that was almost like 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
it feels as like all of your life has changed in 2 years, especially with everything going on. But in layman's terms, just a quick one, like I am a 23-year-old entrepreneur. I work as a chief training and sales officer for a real estate business out here in Arizona right now, and I own my own clothing and media productions company. It's more on the clothing side and kind of using podcasting as the long form medium to get myself, you know, creating content, putting stuff out there for the business. My background is really just like doing whatever the fuck is available to me and
I love that.
taking any opportunity that was available. So I've worked with a mastermind company, helping them set up events in different states and doing stuff like that. I've worked with an EDM events company, helping out with events, doing creative direction on that side. I've worked in a sales environment. I've done so many different things, and really just tried to give myself as many opportunities as I could in the last 3 to 5 years learning,
Yeah.
because I'm not one to enjoy college. Like I just don't like it. I'm still in college. I'm a year and a half late on getting
Okay.
my graduation.
Okay.
But that's specifically per the fact that I enjoy doing so many things and trying so many things up to this point.
Yeah.
And when we last spoke, I was in a place where I was still trying to explore.
Okay.
At this point now, I really feel like I've kind of settled into the things that I enjoy doing so much that I can call myself, like, I want to be a communication expert. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Learning about communication, how people talk in sales environments and work environments with their relationships, all of those different kinds of things is really what gets me going.
Yeah.
And then finding ways to implement that topic into the businesses that I'm operating with or running is kind of where I want to sit. And then obviously,
Yeah.
using the experiences that I'm getting to write a book and then build my speaking career.
Okay.
That's been the goal since day one, is to
Yep.
kind of be a speaker and grow in that space. And I know that's a long journey ahead, but finally kind of understanding who I am and what I want to do has been a blessing, and learning how to utilize those things, I guess, is what I'm still trying to figure out.
Yeah, dude, I love that. In fact, that's why I was so excited to talk to you today, because that,
Yeah.
like what you just said, basically explains my whole life as well, man. It's just like, I always call it the 5% rule. It's just like, I used to be embarrassed that I would jump around and do a lot of different things because,
Right.
like, like society tells you, you got to go get a job and stay at that job and work at that
Yeah.
job and stay at one place, and you got to be reliable and committed to the company, and I've never felt that way. I'm just like, there are so many things I want to do and explore and experience, and
Right.
I'm not going to do that staying in one place. Like, I've had dream jobs, worked for Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. I worked for
Right.
one of the biggest tobacco companies in the world. I had a job where the CEO and the COO were my two oldest best friends in the world, and I got to work with them every day. But the thing for me that, like, remained consistent through all that is just, I don't necessarily want to say not being satisfied, but like having these moments where that you've kind of got all you're going to get from a situation, and it's time to
Right.
move on. And for me, that's always been very natural. And it's like the moment where it's time to move on for something, it's just it's always been very obvious. So while I've spent a lot of time kind of being embarrassed that I've jumped and moved around, I'm kind of at the same place where, like, I've spent so much time trying to get to know myself, where, like, I'm comfortable that
Right.
I do that now. I'm comfortable. I'm a curious person. Like, I want to do and I want to see it all. Now, I'm focused and committed to the thing that I'm working on while I'm working on, but I'm also going to continue to be open to change, right?
Right. 100%. And I mean, it's there's a very fine line that I've learned. You have to understand. Everyone's mind works in a different way, right?
Mhm.
And my mind, I've learned, works in a form of, if I don't have an opportunity for growth or an opportunity to learn something new, or a project to be working on that I don't quite fully understand. Like, I thrive in situations where I don't fully understand what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, when
Yep.
you put me in a position where you're like, hey, you've never done creative direction before, but you're going to be our creative director, which is exactly what happened when I was part of Octave. I thrive in those situations because I love the process of, understanding what my role is and what my part does for the overall business,
Yeah.
and learning how to implement different structures of learning, and it just, the idea of fully understanding what I'm doing has never been something that seemed attractive to me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
any
Yeah. Yeah.
position that I've ever been in has been a position where I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm willing to take on the challenge, and I'm more than willing to try to learn. And it's been incredible for bringing me to the position I am now, because realistically speaking, at 23 years old, I have work experience in C-level positions in 3 different companies. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So it's like, I have the opportunity to take that, even if I were to go the traditional route and take my resume and try to get a job somewhere,
Mhm.
I have all of that experience to show someone. Not only that experience on paper, but I feel like I'm good enough at articulating the experiences that I've had, to show that I have that value to any of these companies, and that in itself is worth more than its weight in gold to me.
Yeah, I always just see experience as like an arsenal. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It's like, it's
100%.
just like you never know where, like, I always call it like a 5% rule. It's just like there's 5% of everything I've ever done. Like from each individual thing I've done, there's a certain 5% that's going to work for no matter what I do or where I
Right.
go. I'm going to be able to dip into that arsenal and be like, oh, well, here's this thing that I did before. Here's how I addressed it. Here's how it ended up. And here's how I see us utilizing a similar strategy right now. And like, I've got different jobs and been in different scenarios where like, something that's super, super obvious to me because I've been through something similar before, you kind of say something to people and they look at you like you're a genius. And I'm like, well, I mean, I just did this before and it makes sense. And it's just like,
Right.
I just love having a wide variety of things I've done and things that have caught my attention, because now I just feel like I could do anything I want, because
Right.
no matter what I do or where I go, I'm going to be able to dip into that and have something that's going to create value. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And again, everyone works kind of differently, and maybe that's not your cup of tea. Maybe that's not what gets you going, and that's not the trigger that goes off in your head, but it
Yeah.
definitely is for me. And it's been a blessing for me to understand that. I feel like a lot of people, like, man, I was such a depressive person when I first got into college because I
Okay.
wasn't tapping into that at all. And it
Yeah.
was draining me, man. Like I was struggling. I was bothered by the fact that I felt pigeonholed with like my major and what I was
Mhm.
doing, and felt like I was already like at 18, I didn't want to be on track to be doing any specific thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I didn't know who I was, what I wanted, what I liked. And being able to give myself the opportunity of like starting a clothing company,
Yeah.
it's exciting because you don't know what's there. You don't know what's on the other side of it. You don't know what you're going to get into or what you're going to face. And that brought life into my soul. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that was something that I was lacking, and it's carried over, thankfully, into the last 4 years where like you're saying, that 5% rule, it carries over no matter what you're trying, what you're doing. There's always a certain segment of what you're doing that will carry over into your next endeavor.
Yeah.
And so long as you have that kind of a mindset, there's no reason you can't try to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I just love that, because there's been so many things, that have ended up that way. Like I didn't have a clothing line, but like I was exploring e-com a few years ago, and I learned how to
Right.
build Shopify stores and set up the drop shipping, and it lost my attention in like 3 or 4 weeks. But
Right.
now I know how to set up a store and I know how to set up drop shipping. And then when I was
100%.
building my new website for my content, I was creating all of these very layered strategies like throughout the website that like I literally have these moments where I'm like, oh, where the hell did I even learn this? I'm like, oh, from that 3 weeks I was
100%.
playing with ecom. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. Yep.
And it's just, you never know like what that 5% is either. You know what I'm saying? And like it comes and it goes and things change. But like, I think like sometimes I feel like we're tricked into like thinking we like, isn't it crazy that when you're 18 you have to pick a major, and that major is going to get you the job you're expected to do your entire
Your
career? Like,
entire life. Yeah.
yeah.
It
That
just,
makes no sense at all to me, because when I was 18, the things that I was into like were never even going to get me where I'm at now, let alone where a degree. Like if I would have went to school at 18 and got a degree, it would have been a business degree, and sure you could work at any business, but like sometimes I feel like I would have been extremely depressed if I would have allowed that to happen, because I would have just ended up somewhere, and all of the good stuff that I've experienced in my life has come on the back of like taking chances and doing things that other people thought were crazy. Like I quit a job where I was the director of sales and marketing to try real estate. It failed miserably. But then I ended up being able to, I met people doing that throughout that process that got me a job working for Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. And
right.
I don't think like those aren't jobs that they're advertising in the newspaper or Indeed or anything like that. It's like you have to
Definitely.
be out there and going to events and meeting people and doing things and somehow all of those different things kind of reconnect and present you with the next opportunity, right?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I mean, it's like going back on needing to pick a major at 18. It's like, it's problematic because I understand the structural point of it
Yeah.
for a society's purpose,
Yes.
but I understand that purpose in what it was maybe 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? We're not at
Yeah.
that point anymore, and
Yeah.
forcing people into that with as much information as available to them now everywhere. We literally live in the age of information. Anything you want to know or want to learn is available to you to learn, period.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yep.
And outside of being a doctor, being an engineer, or being a lawyer,
Mhm.
right, there's really no certification purpose for running a business. You
Right.
don't need a degree to run a business.
Yeah.
You don't need a degree to become a salesperson. You don't need a degree for so many different things that'll teach you what you need to know in the process of being in that role.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that I try to push on people. Like, for example, I have family friends, right? My dad's CPA has a daughter
Okay.
who's graduating high school right now.
All right.
This CPA has been with us since before I was born. So
Mhm.
he's seen me grow up my entire life. And I used to babysit his daughter.
Okay.
And his daughter sent me a text message like 3 months ago when she was getting ready to graduate high school. And she was like, Payam, like, what do I do? Like, I'm so scared and I have no idea what's going on. And like, I'm getting depressed and anxious and I just don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And I feel like every kid is in that position because no one wants to have to buckle down on what they want to do at 18 years old, coming straight out of high school where everyone's telling you can't make decisions for yourself.
Right.
Like, how does that medium switch so quickly from you can't make decisions for yourself to you have to make this decision for yourself?
Yes. To pick your whole life right now.
Yeah. And it's terrifying. So
Yeah.
I try to press this whole like communication thing as learn to connect with people, learn to communicate with people genuinely so that you have an opportunity to really learn and understand what their experiences have been. Learn to grow as a person through other people's experiences and learn to connect with people so you can understand, like, what did they do to get where they are? What did they do to get, what were their experiences? What mistakes did they make that you shouldn't be making or that you can go without making and still get to where you want to go?
Yeah.
Right? Use your first year after college at minimum as an exploratory time period for your life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big proponent of taking a leap year or whatever a gap year. There you go.
Gap year, yeah.
I'm a big proponent. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't do it personally, but the fact that I wasn't going to class and I was on academic probation,
right,
kind of played as a gap year itself.
A little bit of a gap year. I feel that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just I get so frustrated with the fact that so many people feel so lost because of the fact that you never took time to explore who you are.
Yeah. And it's like we're not allowed to, it's we go right from high school where literally everything is planned and decided for you. And then we go right into college where all of a sudden then there's the financial implications of going there. Like if I fail out, my parents are going to be pissed because they paid all this money for me to go, or maybe my parents couldn't help me and I had to go get in student loans. And now I'm going to be stuck with these. And guess what? If I fail out, I still have to pay them back, and I'm going to work at a freaking gas station if I fail out. It's what they make you think. And it's just like the stress and the anxiety that we're causing ourselves at such a young age it's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's like, it doesn't do anyone any good for understanding who they are. And, again, societies over time have needed to change in order for them to continue the growth pattern that they're on, right?
Yep.
Like humans as in general have gone through so many different structures of society to get to the point that we are at now. And I feel like we've stagnated and it's creating a huge problem with people's soul. Like people don't have a soul anymore. And that's like you see so many, I want you to go on Instagram later and type in clothing. And just look at all the different clothing companies and look at the bios. And all of the bios just say a new streetwear brand, a new lifestyle brand. Or look at business and look at all of the different peoples that have started businesses. And there is no purpose behind the business whatsoever. Because there are kids that are getting out of business school who say, okay, well, I learned how to operate a business. and they go and start whatever business seems like it's the popping business or has the highest amount of growth in the community, and there's no reason, there's no gusto behind it, there's no love behind it, there's no purpose behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how much growth there is in a certain sector. Like, obviously, once you get into the business and it started running and stuff like that, those numbers are things you need to look at, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a smart business person. But in order to figure out what you want to do, that shouldn't be the first thing you're looking at. And that's
Right.
what we're teaching people. That's exactly what the school system is teaching people to do. Go out into the market, figure out where the biggest amount of growth was in the last 5 to 10 years, and figure out what the largest projected growth is, and start a business doing that.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that actually drives me insane, because I've been guilty of that, like, for the last 10 years, because, like, we get tricked into, like, thinking that, like, just because, like you said, what's the most popping business right now? You know, when I was in my 20s, it was like having a record label, and then it was e-com, and then it's, they're all clothing brands, things have come and gone. And it's like, if you're passionate about it, go for it, do it. But, like, we do these things based on what we think maybe could make us the most amount of money, and then we do them, and we fail, and we're depressed, and like I told you earlier, I've tried so many things where a month later I'm over it, because I was never supposed to do that in the first place. Like, I'm grateful for the experience that I acquired while doing it, but I tell people this all the time. I'm terrified of the idea that one of the things I tried would have worked out. Like, what if it would have worked out and I would have made $105,000 a year,
and then you're locked in.
And I'm locked in. You can't,
you're
like, what am I going
to change your lifestyle at that point? What are you going to do? You have bills. You've got expenses now. You've got shit to pay for. Like, you're not going to drop that job and go work somewhere else. No, and that's where most people end up sitting. They come out of college for a job that's paying them $50,000-$60,000 a year. They go straight in that first year of working and build up all of these different expenses for themselves that are completely astronomically, like when you look at their finances, it's ridiculous. Like, there's no reason for you to be buying yourself a new car your first year out of college. There's no reason for you to be buying yourself a house your first year out of college. Mm-hmm. It's these ideas are put in our heads, and it fucks you over for life, because you have this standard of what a life is supposed to be, because you haven't gone out and connected with anyone. You haven't spoken with anyone. You don't know what anyone else's experiences are like. Mm-hmm. So all you're doing is going based off of this generalization of what a right way to live your life is. Yeah. And it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. And I hate that, because that whole right way to live your life, like, some of those people are, like, blissfully ignorant. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people, they don't even think. Like, they get up, they go to work, they drive through traffic, they do their job, they drive through traffic, they come home, they eat dinner with their family, and they go to sleep and do it all over again. Like, some people are just, like, going through the motions. But then there are also people who should be doing things like you and I are doing, but society has given them this illusion that you got to get the job and the house and the car and the wife, and then you're stuck. And it's like I would rather, like, I have a 5-year-old son, and I talk to him all the time about what he's into and what he likes, and I teach him about business and opportunity, because, like, I don't want him ever to think that he has to, like, pick a little bucket, climb in that bucket, and sit in it his whole life. Like, I want him to be like, this is really fun, so I'm gonna go do it. You know what I mean? Like, my kid likes to watch videos of, like, other kids, like, doing choreographed hip hop dances, right? Likes to watch the Roddy Ricch videos with the kids dancing in the studio, and he dances to it, and he has so much fun. And every time music comes on, he dances like crazy. And one day we were watching one of those videos where it was a bunch of kids dancing. I think it was Roddy Ricch's The Box, and they were in a dance studio, and it was awesome. And he was dancing and watching, and I was like, hey dude, do you want to go do that? And he was like, I can do that? And I'm like, Yeah, they got those places all over Phoenix. Like, so
Right.
we Googled it. We found a freaking dance studio that does hip hop dance, and we signed him up. And he's been doing it every week now, just
Yeah.
because like I identified that he enjoyed it and it was fun. And like his little brain wasn't gonna realize like, hey, Dad, can I get into a hip hop dance class? But like,
Right.
I know that he enjoyed that, so I'm gonna put him into it. And as he grows, anytime he shows interest in something, that's what I'm gonna do. Like, if you want to do it, let's go do it. I don't know how to do it, but we can definitely go figure it out, right?
Right. And I mean, that's a big part of that. You doing that right now at such an early age for him is just something he's going to pick up on his own. By the time he's 14, he's going to be like, yeah, Dad, I like this. I'm going to go try this. You
Yeah.
don't even have to coach him into doing it. He'll do it on his own.
Yeah,
And that's what
absolutely.
we need to be teaching people to do more often.
Yeah,
Like part of it is obviously the coaxing of getting people to understand this type of, I like to call this a value structure. You kind of have to help people understand this kind of a value structure for life, right?
yeah,
Like what are the pillars by which you value life? Are you
yeah,
valuing your life based on the fact that you have a certain amount of income and you can live a certain lifestyle? Or are
mhm,
you valuing life based on the experiences you're getting, what you're learning, who you're affecting? That's the value structure that I have, right?
yeah, same.
And obviously, there's a need for money. Monetary value in life is necessary, period. You
Yep.
can't live life without having money. Now, the threshold is different for everybody.
Hmm.
One person might say, hey, I can live super comfy on 60K a year, and I'm happy with that. And I would rather run my little seashell selling store for 60 grand a year than do
Yeah,
anything else. And God bless you for doing it,
right.
right? But at the end of the day, it's like you need to be able to understand what your value structure for life is. What is that threshold of like, this is how much I enjoy what I'm doing, this is how much money I'm making from enjoying what I'm doing, and this is how much I value that.
I love
And by
that.
giving Link that opportunity, that's his name, right?
Yes.
By
Yep.
giving Link that opportunity to explore what he's enjoying, to explore what it seems like he might enjoy, by exposing him to those opportunities, exposure is huge. And it's like,
Yeah.
I would think that in a world where we have so much opportunity to be exposed to new things via the internet, you can
Yeah.
literally be exposed to anything. People are still trapped in this similar social bubble. Like
Hmm.
there's still, I don't understand it. I wish there was a way for people to be exposed to more things on a daily basis, because you never know what's going to catch your eye. You never know what interests you might have that you were never exposed to. And
Yeah.
per the fact that you never were exposed to it,
Yeah.
you never got into it.
Yeah. Cause like, who knows, like, there's probably some weird hobby out there that people accidentally stumbled across and was like, oh, I could probably do that. And then they did it and became their life's work and their passion.
Right.
And they've never been happier, regardless of money, whether they make $1 million a year or they make that 40, 50, 60, and they're happy as shit because they're doing what they want. But it's like, unless you're out there trying things and like being willing to expose yourself to those things, like how are
100%.
you ever going to find the thing that you're meant to do, like at your core? Because like we could all go get jobs. Like I could go right
Right.
now and go get a job in Phoenix or in Scottsdale and probably go make 50, 60K. I could probably start that job next week, not having any plans on going to get a job right now. Like those jobs are always going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Because there are people whose life work is to do XYZ. They chase it. They had a business. They set it up. Now, the person who owns this business, they may be, they may be going after that thing that they're super passionate about. And they need people who just want to go work. Like I'll never say, like, if you just want to go to work and spend your nights playing softball and fishing and whatever else you want to do, like if that's what makes you
Hallelujah,
truly
man.
happy, that's fine. But like I just worry about the people that are like me. That's why I do this podcast and why I talk shit on Instagram all day, because like my big concern is like, what if there was when I was 18 years old, what if there was a 34-year-old dude who was like, dude, go out there and try things, otherwise your life might suck. It might not suck, but it also
But it
might
might
suck.
suck.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
it's just like I'm not trying to reach the people who are happy going to their corporate job in their khakis and polo shirt and like going home and watching TV. Like those aren't the people that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the people like me. I went through 10 years of stress and depression and anxiety and like feeling like I was never gonna find what I want, and like just being terrified that like life was going to suck forever. And it's
Right.
because like I was trying to conform to this idea that was never going to suit who I am as a person. Right.
Right. And I mean, like you're saying right now, your voice isn't meant for everyone in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Like if my
Yeah.
voice was meant for everyone, then if anyone's voice was meant for everyone, then we would have one sole ruler of the world.
Right.
And that would be the person who could get himself in front of the most number of people.
Right.
Because then your voice would be meant for everyone. There's no need for anyone else. Right.
Yeah.
You're speaking truth to every person, but that's not the way the world works.
Right.
Right. Like my truth is different from your truth. And although there's similarities,
Yeah.
we have two distinctly different groups of people that we're trying to reach.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And there's no reason for us to be fighting for those different groups, or for people to be patronizing or God, what's the word I'm looking for? Vilifying you or me for telling them to go do something different. If you're so against the fact that I'm telling you to go try something else, then it's not for you. Don't do it.
Right.
Like I'm not mad at you. Do whatever you want to do. I'm telling you my experience with my life. I was pissed off, angry, depressed, and anxious for months. From high school, even from the time I was a junior in high school, is when I can distinctly remember me going to my mother and saying, "Hey, I really think I got a problem here. Like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like, my head is messed up. I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
All the way through college, when I started college and I was in that situation, like, this is my experience. This is what I felt. That's why I can talk about it. So if that's not an experience that resonates with you, great, go do your thing. But if you're a person who feels the way I felt at that point in time right now, maybe you should take a listen.
Right.
That's the only thing that's the only difference here for anybody is who are you listening to?
Right.
Like so many people get stuck in their cult-like friend group, their cult-like understanding, and like the people that they follow on social media, the celebrities, all of these different groups of people, and they hear the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And they don't have any understanding of how to live life a different way. They don't have any understanding of the fact that there is a way to live life a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to be willing, again, to expose yourself to new opportunities, to expose yourself to new communication factors, to expose yourself to listening to people who, hey, they might have gone through what you're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I get frustrated talking about it because it's been such a struggle to get people to understand that. And so many times you see people in the comments on videos and stuff like this, like, oh, that's not realistic. You had this opportunity, and your situation was different because of this, this, and this. And that's why you were able to get where you are right now.
Right.
Well, yeah, everybody's situation is different. Again, I'm not speaking to you. If you don't have the same feeling that I have, or you didn't have the same similar experience that I have, I'm not speaking to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's bizarre, man. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, and those are like the same people. Those are the same people who will just be like, "Yeah, but it was easy for you because X, Y, Z." And I'm like, people tell me that all the time, like with doing podcasts and videos, and they're like, "It's easy for you because you like doing this." And I'm like, okay. I get frustrated too. I'm trying to chill out right now because I'm gonna get all upset. But like for me, like I make these videos and I speak on stages when I can, and I do all of these things, and people say it's easy. You like doing that, and I'm just like, do you even understand what it's like to be me? Like, first of all, the struggles that I had to go through to even be bold enough to make a podcast. Like, who am I? I'm just some dude.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like I could just do this podcast and have these conversations with people like you just because I think I can. No, but it's like I went through all of these things that made me realize like it's at my core that I have to have these conversations and I have to share these. But like when it comes to people being like, oh, it's easy for you because of this, like especially with speaking and doing these videos, that drives me the most crazy because when I was 10 years old, I was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome.
Right.
So I have facial tics and I have to hold it in, and I'm talking to you right now and I can feel it inside of me, and like I'm trying to pay attention and my brain's like, don't do it. And I'm like, I'm in front of people with Tourette's syndrome. Like, what the fuck about that sounds like it's easy for me? Like, do you understand that I have to deal with the anxiety knowing that's going on inside my body every time I'm in front of people?
Right.
including right now as I'm saying this.
Right.
You know,
No,
like
I agree.
nothing's easy, but it's because I've taken the chances and I've got out there and I've chased the things that felt good, that I've realized that I actually don't give a shit about any of that, and it absolutely still bothers me, but I know on the other side of that bothering me, I'm going to learn something about you or about myself, and I'm going to share this idea that it is hard, but like we just have to get more in tune with like what feels good and do more of that, right?
Right. And I mean, what else is there to do?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, right?
what else? Like, think about that question for real. If you're listening to this, not even speaking at you, Jake, but
Yeah.
what else is there to do?
Right.
What else are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
What other more valuable thing can you be doing than that exactly?
Right.
Not just for other people around you, but specifically for yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of saying that in order for you to be helpful to the people around you, you first have to be helpful to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You first have to know who you are.
Yeah.
And you can't know who you are until you go through that emotional struggle.
Yeah.
Bro, 8 months ago, let's say a year ago, because I don't remember a specific date. I'm staring at the couch that I was laying down on,
Yeah.
and I told myself, I'm done trying. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I'd failed at least 7 different projects at that time.
Yeah.
I was laying down on that couch and I said, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yep.
I'm over it. I can't weather the storm. I don't feel good about myself because I failed at all of these things. After that point, I took 6-7 months of doing nothing. I shopped around for a job.
Did you go try to be normal?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I shopped around for a job. I went and got a sales job.
Yep.
I started dating my girlfriend.
Yep.
And then something clicked.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right anymore again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would much rather weather the storm of that emotional struggle than do this and feel comfortable doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. I always call it surviving the chaos. You got to survive the chaos, man.
Yeah. I love that phrasing too. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the trigger on this new company I want to start. I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, again, I was invigorated with life. Like I enjoy every second of my day now. I enjoy going to work and coming home to work. Like I love it. I love it. And it's the fact that, like, again, you have to have those situations where like you have your couch situation like I did.
Mm-hmm.
You lay down and you say, man, is this really worth it? This is really difficult. Like I'm struggling right now and it's hard. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah.
But then you have the other struggle. It's like, pick your struggle. What kind of struggle do you want? Do you want the struggle of a monotonous, boring, regular? I'm not going to say boring because there are people who enjoy that and graces to you.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to experience both of those things early on in life. Early on in life. This is my big point. If you're not doing this early on in life, you're going to spend years of time upset and internally frustrated with the fact that you didn't give yourself the opportunity to experience all of those different things.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur and you feel like what you're doing isn't working and you're struggling with it, take 6 months off. Go try to be normal. Give yourself the opportunity. If being normal feels better long term, if a year in, if 6 months in, being normal feels better, being normal, again, there is no normal.
Right.
For the case of this conversation.
Yeah.
If that feels better to you, do that, bro. That's what you were meant to do. That's what your soul is calling for.
Yep.
But if you're like me and 3.5, 4 months in, you're like, then you need to switch back and go deal with the other struggle.
Yeah.
Just pick your struggle, but don't be complacent.
Yeah. And that's oh man, I love that so much because I've experienced that like so much. In fact, even like 2 years ago while I was here, I had a moment like that where I'm just like, all right, screw it. I'm going to go get a regular job and I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come home. I'm going to watch football and play softball and go golfing on the weekends. And it'll be great. Like I won't get the things I want to do and I won't get to be totally who I want to be, but at least I won't have anything to worry about. And then like 3 months later, I'm like sitting in a cubicle like this.
Yep.
Like I got a job at House in Tempe which is like the penthouse of that building right across from a mountain. And like, I just had this moment where like my whole life, I grew up in a small town in Michigan in the middle of the woods, like 1,000 people in this town. Right. And like, I always had these grand visions of living in a city and seeing the city lights and being in the building with the floor to ceiling windows. And then I had this moment, like, maybe like 2 months of working at House, just in a regular sales job, where I'm standing in like a little lobby that they have, and it's a floor to ceiling window, and I can see the entire valley, Camelback Mountain, the mansions on the mountain, and you could see the skyline of Phoenix in the distance. And I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, so like 15 years ago, like this would have been the absolute like dream. And then I'm just like, then why am I so miserable? Like, why am I so miserable? And it's just because like I'm not supposed to like be sitting in a cubicle with a headset on, making the same phone call 80 to 120 times a day. Like, if it was, I could do that for the right reasons, but I was there for the wrong reasons. I was there to have a regular job and to get off, to get off for the day at 4 o'clock and be home by 4:30 and da 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 da. But that's not who I am. Like, I'm what we're doing now. Like, I need to be talking and having conversations and like putting myself out there and being vulnerable. Like, dude, I spent probably like half my life trying to hide the fact that I had Tourette's and arthritis because I was embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm at this point where I'm like, hell no. Like, how many other people out there like have these same issues that are trying to hide it right now? Like, they need dudes like me to be like, you're gonna go fucking crazy if you don't address it in a way that's appropriate to who you are. Because me hiding it, like, I'm not that dude. Like, the only way I feel better about it is if I'm talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I mean, that at the end of the day, man, my company shows the core values of everything that I want to exemplify. And it's a very simple process. Expose yourself to new things. Connect and communicate with those things. Understand your personal identity and pursue that. That's it. Very, very simply. Now, it's much more convoluted in practice than it is for me to explain like that. But when you explain it like that, it's not very difficult to get started. And so long as you can put yourself in a position to be exposed to more things, that is the first step and the hardest step. If you can put yourself in a position to be exposed to more things. Here's a quick story for you. The entertainment company that I worked with, right? Octave Entertainment. The guy who started the company had never been to an EDM festival, event, rave ever before in his life prior to starting this company. He went to a single one with his friends and enjoyed it so much that he has literally built his entire life around it at this point, and now is a C-level executive for the largest EDM events company in the state of Arizona. The one who puts on Gold Rush and Decadence and all of those. The man started with one single exposure, one event exposure, changed his life. It starts with the exposure. And doubling back to what we were talking about earlier, college is not going to give you that exposure if that's what you're seeking. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer and you know that's what you want to do, bro, go for it. But if you're like me, if you're like Jake, if you're like the millions and millions of other people on the planet who don't know who the fuck they are or what the fuck they want to do, bro, go get yourself some exposure, connect and communicate, understand who you are and your identity, and go from there. That is the core of what you should be doing for the first 4 years, 5 years out of college. I promise you, it'll be worth more than you can imagine throughout your lifetime.
Dude, I love that so much. I always tell people, like, go try things. If they feel good, do more of them. If they don't, do less of them. That's like the secret to life. Like, I truly believe that is like, I feel like we were given our senses and we were given our ability to feel our emotions because we're literally supposed to try things. If they feel good, do more. If they don't, do less. Obviously, 100%. Like, I'm not talking about heroin. You know, like,
well, yeah,
I'm being very appropriate when I say that. But when it comes to like your life and trying to figure out who you want to be, if it feels good, do more. If not, do less. Like, that's it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the countless number of people that I've talked to over the time span in my DMs, or people that will call me or whatever, I tell them the same thing. They're like, Payam, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I make myself not feel shitty?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, first of all, let's do a little audit of what your life looks like right now.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the people that you spend time with legitimately? Not when you see them in the first 10 minutes, you're excited to see them, because all of us feel that way. We all get euphoric when we see people because we like being around people.
Yep.
An hour, 2 hours into spending time with them, are you still enjoying their presence? Are you enjoying the conversations that are going on? Are you enjoying what's transpiring there? That's our first thing. Second, do you enjoy waking up every day and knowing that you have what you have planned for that day planned? That's second one. Third one, are you happy with your surroundings? When you look at your walls, when you look at the artwork and the influences you have on your walls, do those things inspire you to want to do more? Do they inspire you to want to live that day? And just go down the line, bro. Pick apart every piece of your life. And if you're getting more no's than you are yeses, you need to go get some more exposure to some new things. You need to go try some new stuff. And it's really that simple. It's really as open as and I get the, let me try to figure out the right way to word this. People tell me a lot of the time that it's difficult in today's world to make connections and make new friends and talk to people, and I understand that. We live in a very polarized world.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world where people are reluctant to meet and actually connect with new people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very apparent to me. But the right people, the people who understand this already, they will pick up from a hi and a hello and carry you throughout the conversation for hours if need be. You just found a new friend just through that. So again, just because you get a couple of go fuck yourselves or don't talk to me or I don't want to be your friend does not mean you should stop saying hello to new people, and does not mean you should stop saying hi to new people, because the right people will be looking for you the same way you are looking for them. Yep. And I promise you there are enough lost people right now in the world looking for other people who are also lost that we can all make a community out of this. You can make your own little community of lost people who become friends and build an incredible life together. There are plenty of them. You just have to start with a hello.
Dude, I love that. You know what I call that?
What's that?
I call that the ThoughtSound Project podcast.
Oh yeah, for real.
That's what this is for me, man.
Swear.
Honestly,
I swear.
Like people are always like, "What's your podcast about?" It's like, well, I really like to make new friends who are interesting and do cool shit.
Yeah,
that's kind of what my podcast is about. Like, it's this is friendship lead gen.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Dude, I love it, man. You killed it as always. I truly enjoy knowing you and talking to you. So I think that when things get a little bit more normal, you and I should collaborate on the life experience mastermind or something like that, man. Let's do an event together when this is done, and let's get these people in a room, man. Because
dude, let's throw a free party and have people come up and talk about their life experiences on a mic. Yep. I think that would be incredible.
We'll build an army of the lost.
Yep, I would love that.
All right, yeah. I'm down, man. I'm down.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Of course. So, okay. So just a couple more minutes before we wind it down here. Just give me a rundown. Sure. Last time we talked, you didn't have this business. You weren't doing the podcast. Just give me a rundown of like your life, your business, what you're working on. Like what's life look like for you right now?
Right. So I'll start from the long term and run short term. Long term, obviously, again, working on becoming a public speaker. I want to publish my first book by 25. So I got about a year and a half before that like kind of due date I set for myself comes. So want to get my first book out, want to start doing more public speaking gigs and speaking in front of, actual physical groups of people. Mm-hmm. I'm working as a chief training and sales officer for a wholesale real estate team out here. Mm-hmm. Basically just building out a team of cold callers and then training and helping them, become successful in their roles, as well as helping scale the business. That's kind of the role that I'm taking on is helping scale what these two gentlemen that have started this company already know how to do, which is do the deals. Yep. And then the company that I'm running now is called Ziza Brand.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of it again is exposure, connection, individuality, and your identity. So those are kind of the core values of it. I'm working on developing the clothing for it. That's all kind of up in the air. I've done quite a bit of research on different manufacturers, and I found like the guys who make the blanks for company like Supreme and Diamond and all of them. So
Okay. Yep.
I'm talking to them, trying to figure out what kind of investment on the clothing I want to make. What kind of clothing is it going to be? High value, low value? Do I want everyone wearing it or just a few people wearing it?
Mm-hmm.
So structuring the business there. But more so focusing on Ziza Brand, the content side at the moment. So, again, developing the podcast, developing the kind of behind the scenes stuff that I want to do, because that's a big part of who I am, is watching behind the scenes videos.
Yep.
So I feel like it would be great to implement into my business.
I like that.
And yeah, really just focused on, again, my company, my role at my job, and building into that speaking role that I'm working towards. Those are my three big goals at the moment. Obviously, among staying healthy and my family and all of those have their own place, of course.
Awesome, man. Love it. Just finally to wrap it up, where can everyone find you online?
At Payam Talks, Payam Talks, Talks. That's my personal stuff. And then Ziza Brand, or just look up Ziza Brand on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Instagram, on TikTok. I have accounts everywhere. They're not all populated quite yet, but we're getting there. So little by little.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, hey, this was awesome. It's always a pleasure.
Hell yeah, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, dude.